Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Fighting's Final here on the It's a Rap Sports Network tonight with your boy Matty B on the call and the Phillies. This is what it's supposed to look like when it works, right? This is what we signed up for. This is why back in the day, back in 2021, we agreed to bring on Kyle Schwarber, or say we agreed to it, but we got excited about it. We got excited about Schwarber, Castellanos, re-signing Real Muto. This is what it's supposed to look like. Unfortunately for the Phillies, it hasn't necessarily been a consistent output of offense where they were using both the little and the big ball to win tonight. Kyle Schwarber highlights everything with 2 home runs. The Yankees continue their struggles with starting pitching and defense. 2 errors tonight on the Yankees. And then the Goldschmidt debacle there out in the outfield. Probably, if it was 10 years ago, that might have been ruled an error as well. But they gave Turner a triple anyway. But all that helped the Phillies to a 12-5 win in an interesting game. They started tonight with Taijuan Walker as you're getting the pill to start the game. And I don't know if anybody was feeling the way I was, but I was looking at maybe a higher score game. Now there was home runs galore in this game, 7 total, 3 by the Phillies, 4 by the Yankees. But the Phillies used a combination of both the small ball and the big ball tonight. And again, this is what it's supposed to friggin' look like this is what we signed up for years ago, but we just haven't seen it that consistently. And if they can somehow harness it, and I still don't believe they can, but if they can somehow harness that consistent contributions from all sides of the plate, then there's no stopping this team. Even with the sus starting pitching and the bullpen issues as this team has been kind of nagged with, and now we are only 6 days away from the trade deadline. What will the Phillies do? But tonight, it's all about a Phillies win over the Yankees 12-5 as they continue their AL portion of their schedule. They got the Yankees now, then they had the Red Sox. Before that, it was who was before the Red Sox? So it was the Red Sox, Yankees, White Sox, Tigers, and Orioles. I think I think the Rangers. I think they're playing like the next 15 games against the American League. And tonight was definitely a good start to the series. What a game. It was a good game. Again, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what we signed up for, right? Star Wars. Joe Hale says it's a great win. Hey, what's going on, Joe? How are you? Ricky Deal. Is Ricky here yet? There he is. I see him. Schwarber hit 2 home runs and JT a 3-run home run. And it was, again, and that's what you want to see. I love a home run as much as the next guy does, especially love them when there's runners on base. And the only way runners get on base is if people can kind of get in front of them and get on base. And the Phillies tonight adequately did that. And they set up those power hitters to do what power hitters do, and that is hit home runs. And Kyle Schwarber continues a torrid pace through this season with the home run hitting. Is it too soon to talk MVP? I mean, is that such a outlandish prediction? Is Kyle Schwarber trending towards an MVP type season? Is he going to be in the running? Is he definitely in the conversation for a potential MVP in 2025? But it's been definitely not necessarily just this season, but it's been also last season. Kyle Schwarber turned the corner last year, but has been one of the more consistent hitters in this lineup, and he continues to do what Kyle Schwarber is supposed to do, and that's hit home runs. And thankfully now he gets to do it with runners on base, as he had a big night with the 2 home runs leading the way for the Phillies. JT did have a pretty decent game. He had that home run. Still kind of, still want to see more from JT consistently. Still want to see him come up bigger in moments where the Phillies still like confuggled my frustration levels with leaving runners on base again. What was the double by Castellanos to lead off the inning right before they went on the deluge of scoring all those runs, and then they just left them out there? Or was that the start of the big inning? Yeah, that's right. He led off the inning, and then the next two batters ground out. No one moves them over. Thankfully, the Phillies did blow it open in that inning, but we were just kind of trending in that more familiar, once again, leaving an opportunity on the bases. But for the Phillies tonight, they were not to be denied. Ricky, what's going on, my man? Joe Hale says, great game. Also says, Painter looked good yesterday. And I guess for those of you who were out there with the Andrew Painter July call-up prediction, which a lot of you were sort of on that train, we're 6 days away from the end of the month. And I don't think Andrew Painter is getting called up in July. And I also don't think Andrew Painter is getting called up anytime soon. But yeah, he did look good as he continues to kind of work his way through. Turner and Schwarber had 7 hits combined. They did. They came up big tonight. And Turner was 4 for 5 in this game. Great win. I'm not going to say there's nothing much we are going to get into some of the things. Obviously, the Yankees assisted the Phillies a little bit. And I don't know what's happened out there. We all know about the prolific offense that the Yankees have. They did hit 4 home runs tonight, and that's not good. That's not good. The Phillies pitching, especially Taijuan Walker, who gave up 3 of those 4. That's not good. But Taijuan Walker overall was serviceable tonight. He was serviceable, not anywhere near the money we're paying for him, but he was serviceable, and he ate some innings for this bullpen. So the home runs are a concern. The Phillies gave up a monster amount of home runs in the first half of the season, and they've actually been quite better at not giving up the long ball within the first 18 or so games of the second half. But lately it's starting to kind of kick back in, and they're giving up home runs. And I know when you try to navigate a lineup like the Yankees with Judge and Stanton and Bellinger and all those guys, it's tough to try to keep that ball in the yard. But I just don't want to see 4 home runs. Now, thankfully, a majority of those home runs, I think, were solo shots, right? Was there just one? Yeah, they were all solo shots. They scored 4 runs off those 4 home runs, and they ended up getting the Judge sac fly for the 5th run. That's a positive, that they were just solo shots, but it's never a positive when you give up 4 home runs in one game. And that's something the Phillies are going to have to kind of look into. It's been a trend all season, actually, with the way this pitching staff has given up home runs. 12 to 5, eat that with a fork and a spoon. It was a good game, Star Wars. It was, but I said all the time, man, this is definitely what it looks like when it works. But we just haven't seen enough of it working. And we just haven't seen enough of the consistent level of this type of play. And when it does happen, when the Phillies are getting equal amounts contributions from the slash contact guys, and they're also getting the support from the home run hitters, there's really nothing. There's no team in this league that can, I think, stop this team. The problem is it just has not been consistent over the past 4 years. You go through stretches of time where they're good, and then you go through stretches of time when they're not. There's no balance there. There's nothing to get like overly positive about it, because then tomorrow they're going to come out and score 2 runs and go like 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow, but that's kind of how it's been happening and how it's been setting up. So if they can play like this, if they can, and they can maintain this, there's no stopping this team. I'm still waiting for that day, but there is no stopping this team when they are playing like that. You know what's crazy? Florida is 3rd in the NL East. Yeah, the Braves season is sort of falling apart. It really has. I guess what they say is true. You cannot win a World Series in April, but you certainly can lose one, as the Braves get off to that really, really bad start. Well, all right, let's get back to this. Let's back to the game. Let's break some of this stuff down. Let's head into the box score. Phillies 12 runs on 14 hits. 14 hits, man. Yankees 5, no errors. Yankees 5 runs, 10 hits, and 2 errors. That Yankee defense that sort of was a mystery in Toronto continues to be a mystery in New York. And their starting pitch, they got decent starting pitching, but their bullpen let them down, as that's been the 2 biggest kind of thorns in the sides of the Yankees over the past month, as they have allowed the Blue Jays to sort of kind of streak ahead of them in the AL East. But they were definitely on display tonight for the Yankees in a losing effort. Offensively for the Yankees, the home run hitters, you got to go with Bellinger, you go with Stanton, you go with Austin Wells and Volpe were the home run hitters. They did the most damage, and it's interesting. I mean, you Chisholm had 2 hits, Goldschmidt did have 2 hits, but you got to give credit where credit's due to Taijuan Walker and the Phillies bullpen, and they did their job. They shut the door when they had to, and again, this is what it looks like when it all works for the Phillies. Offensive power outages or offensive power input, I should say, from Trey Turner, 4 for 5. Star Wars alluded to that. He did have an RBI, struck out once, and he walked once. Kyle Schwarber was 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 home runs. Castellanos 2 for 5 with an RBI. JT 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. And then that was really the soul, heart, and meat of this attack tonight. Some offensive non-stellar performances. Max Kepler was 0 for 3 with a walk, as his batting average is now hovering right above the Mendoza line at 201. Otto Kemp was 0 for 4 and then got replaced late in the game by Armando Sosa, who came up big time as he continued to hit parade late. Matter of fact, he was the one that knocked in, I believe, Castellanos to get that to get that double counted. So he was 1 for 1. And Bryson Stott, 1 for 5 with that late double as well. He scored a run as well, as his average now back up to 231. And maybe Bryson Stott is turning the corner. And he comes off that big 2 for 4 the other night, and he follows that up with, it's a 1 for 5, but it was a big hit there at the end of the game to keep the pressure on. Pitching wise, Taijuan Walker, not the best. 5.5 innings, 83 pitches. It's not good. That's not smooth. That's not fluid. But was serviceable tonight. 5.5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. They were earned. 3 strikeouts, 3 home runs. It's nothing to write home about. I'm not telling you to re-sign Taijuan Walker to a multi-year deal. Obviously, it's a mistake. It was a mistake bringing him here, and he's not money at all. But tonight, and pretty much for the most of this regular season, when called upon, he's come out as a starter and given you at least a decent effort. It's not been as bad as it was last year. Last year was just terrible. His ERA is 3.84, which I'll take that. I'll take that. So he's given you decent starts this year. Nothing like it was last year. Now, again, let's not misconstrue this as me saying that Taijuan Walker is turning a corner. And yes, it was a great move to bring him here. It wasn't. And we still have another year left in that contract, by the way, if you guys are keeping track at home. He's a free agent at the end of the 26th season. So unless the Phillies can find a way to move him, and maybe that's what this is. Maybe somebody sees something in Taijuan Walker who needs a starting pitcher. Maybe the Yankees are looking kind of at the Phillies right now and saying, hey, you know what? He's not great, but he gives you a decent effort. We could definitely use some help either in our bullpen or on our starting rotation. Maybe Taijuan Walker can fetch you something at the trade deadline, potentially for the Phillies. Tanner Banks pitched a third of an inning. Romano comes in and pitches an inning pretty effectively too. Kerkering, and then because of the blowout, Robert comes in the 9th and finishes it off for the Phillies. For the Yankees, Warren only lasted 5.5, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a homer. Hill, Weaver, Hamilton, and Efros all in the losing effort for the Yankees tonight. Phillies on the evening were what was it when I see that 5 for 15 with runners in scoring position. That doesn't look good, but I'll take it, man. 8 runners were left on base for the Phillies. Yankees were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, which tells you the story of what the Phillies pitching was tonight. Yes, the Yankees got to Walker with 3 home runs, and they got the Banks. What was it? It was the Banks? No, it was Romano. Romano gave up that home run. Walker gives up 3 home runs. But when you hold a team to 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, that means they only had 3 runners in scoring position all night long. So you gotta sort of weigh that out a little bit with the home runs being all solo shots. Phillies, with that exception, pitching wise, pitched pretty good tonight. But yes, the home runs are a concern. I definitely agree. They are a concern. How it all went down, Bellinger would get the Yankees off and rolling in the first with a homer and make it 1-0. Then Wells would homer in the second, making it 2-0, but that would go away in the fifth as Schwarber would tie it up with a 2-run jack. Stanton then homers in the sixth for the Yankees, making 3-2. Then Castellanos would reach on an infield single. Turner would score on an error. Castellanos would move to second. And Schwarber would go to third, and it was now 3-3. Then Realmuto would homer in the 7th inning. That a little bit later on in that inning, a 3-run shot to make it 6-3 Phillies, kind of the, I guess you would call it the game winner. They didn't score 6 runs, so even though it got a little hairy there, as Volpe would follow up in the 7th inning with a homer of his own, and then Judge would knock in Rice to make it 6-5. Then the Phillies would power themselves in that 8th inning with a Kyle Schwarber 2-run shot. Sosa would knock in Castellanos. Or in the 8th inning was the home run by Schwarber. 9th inning, they broke it wide open as they would score. Sosa, Stott, and Turner all would knock in runs, and that's how you got 12-5. Phillies with the win. And collectively speaking, it was a very good game tonight for the Phillies. As I said, when it starts working, this is what it's supposed to look like. So, Stott had an okay game. Yeah, you got to look at things from Stott's perspective. Yeah, the guy's been so god awful all season. They got him batting 9th now. He came off that 2 for 4 the other night, and then he comes up. Even though he was quiet all night, he did get that big double, and it was a very good at bat double. I mean, he kind of places that ball right down the right field line there. You got to look at it positively for Stott. Stott has nowhere to go at this point but up. But you got to give him that. You definitely got to give him. So what? 2 for 4, 1 for 5. So he's 3 for 9 over the last 2 games. I mean, is that a positive? I think it might be for him. What time is live tomorrow? I am not on the air on Saturdays. Star Wars, Ricky. I don't do a show on Saturdays, but the final will be back tomorrow night, immediately following the Phillies game, and it'll be Pat Bernard will have you tomorrow night. I am back on Sunday for the Fightins final, and yes, the final word will return on Sunday because we got a lot to talk about. Again, summer's hitting hard, man. I'm trying to do my best, and I know I did 2 shows this week. It's not satisfactory. I get it, but you got to hang in there with me. Schwarber's 1,000th career hit is a no doubt homer. Yep, he's joined that club. All about Ronald Acuna Jr.'s 3 brothers. And I guess the 14-year-old signed with the Phillies internationally. He's now property of the Phillies, which is interesting. What do I think about Kenny Acuna? Same thing. I'm thinking about Jeremy Giambi at this point. Is the sins of the brother or not the other brother? Is there any correlation between the two? We'll see. Way too early. It's by the name only. I was happy when they brought Jeremy Giambi here, and obviously it's not Jason. Okay, so we'll wait and see. Right? I mean, we always have there's a sick thing going on in this town where we sign the wrong brother for all the teams, not just the Phillies, but we always bring the wrong brother here. Let's see, maybe Acuna breaks that trend if he ever even sees the Phillies at some point. Acuna Jr., Los Angeles, and now Kenny Acuna. Yeah. Pat will be on in a few minutes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. The wraparound is coming on here in about 7 minutes. So if that's what you're referring to, Ricky, there is a show following me. It's the wraparound with Pat Bernard. So I'm not going to waste my time because I am not going to step on Pat's time. So Phillies signed some of their draft picks. They did, and we'll talk draft picks later on, potentially on Sunday night. And as they have till Monday at 5 p.m. to sign all their draft picks. If they don't, then those picks will not be able to participate with the Phillies in any way or form this season. They can't go into any minor league ball. They can't go to any facilities. They can't, train with the team. They can't do nothing with the Phillies for the remainder of the season if they don't sign by 5 p.m. Monday. And then the Phillies will have up to 24 hours right before the start of the 2026 draft to sign those players, or they'll go back into the draft. So we'll update all that stuff here for you. Maybe Pat will talk about it a little bit, perhaps. If not, I'll get into it on Sunday, I promise. Matt, can I open the phone lines? Can you open the phone lines? I don't know. Do you have that power? We're not going to do the phone lines on this show. This is the Fightins final. This is not my show. This is our Phillies postgame show. All right, so Phillies with the 12-5 win. And let's get back over here now. Let's rock out some Broad Street Bottom Line. My Broad Street Bottom Line on this program tonight is brought to you by the fine folks here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network, purveyors of such programming as this one right here. Yes, this does still exist. I know it's bordering on, bad advertising here because I'm obviously not doing Sunday through Thursday these days. I'm trying, but the final word with Manny B, Sundays through Thursdays, usually Sundays through Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, where you get my final word of your Philadelphia sports day. So keep checking back, folks. We're getting there. I got about a month left of what I'm doing right now, and trust me, I'm at a point too. I'm starting to get a little baseball happy. Starting to see balls and strikes in my sleep, but it pays the bills, man. I can't walk away from the money that I'm making, so it's got to bear with me for about another month, and then I'll be back full time doing that show Sunday through Thursday. And of course, for those of you that are in the Cooperstown, New York area, which I am, it's induction week, as you could tell by all the pretty hats that MLB will be featured. I don't know if it's all weekend or if it's just tonight, but the Phillies going back with their retro 80s, 80s hat with the maroon and that cool P, which I believe it's that hat right there. Yeah, so it's kind of that hat right there. Every team has got their Hall of Fame hat on display. I believe it's for the weekend. And if possible, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to try to get to the actual ceremony on Sunday. And, just kind of check out some, basically see what the Dick Allen portion of the ceremony is. As Richie Allen's going in, Dave Parker as well. And then the big one, the highlight, and I ran into him today, actually. I saw him today, Ichiro. I was walking down Main Street, Cooperstown. Smile was plastered across his face as he's strolling down Main Street, Cooperstown. And I honked the horn, waved at him. He looked at me like I was crazy. So, but yeah, I saw him today. Ichiro's in town. So they're all going into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. If you're in the Cooperstown area, I definitely highly recommend you stopping by. All right. They already signed Gage Wood. They did. They signed Gage Wood, and now all the prognosticators out there are going to be counting down when Gage Wood makes his Phillies debut as part of the 2025 postseason push. But I hope that doesn't happen. I honestly don't. Dave Dombrowski, of course, in attendance tonight in the Bronx. Josh Naylor was actually traded today from the Diamondbacks to the Yankees. Not Josh Naylor. Naylor went to the Mariners. McMahon went from the Rockies to the Yankees, as the dominoes are starting to fall for the trade deadline. So far, quiet on the Phillies front, as we all wait with bated breath to see what move Dave Dombrowski pulls off. I hope the hell it's not the David Robertson move, and I really don't. But, on the other side of that, I hope to hell he's not blowing up the minor league system. But, yeah, Joe Hale says all weekend. Okay, so it's the hats all weekend. So, yeah, pretty cool hats. Tonight's tonight. Cole Hamels is getting ready to relive his no-hitter farewell. We'll see you tonight on NBC Sports. Tonight's tonight. Cole Hamels is getting ready to relive his no-hitter farewell. I know it was a year ago today, right? Or not a year. When was that? 2015 against the Cubs, right? Today was his no-hitter. What does that mean? He's going to relive it? Was he going to pitch against the Cubs? Was he going to reenact it? Who do you think about the rumor the Phillies are interested in Pirate Center? I saw that. He's the rumor du jour right there, Michael Papernick. Now, this week it's O'Neal Cruz. Last week it was all about Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Clase. Way earlier this summer, it was about Cedric Mullins and Luis Robert. Again, these rumors are just that. They're rumors. And I'm not saying I wouldn't not like O'Neal Cruz, but again, center field, what about the prospect that we got? What about Justin Crawford, man? Is it telling that he's not here yet? There was a lot of talk earlier in the season that they were going to want to try to save his service time, right? They didn't want to burn a year of his since Okay, fine. We've long passed that date. It was like June 15th, right? So what is the big deal? What's going on with Justin Crawford? Is he, I know he hits a lot of ground balls. I know he puts the ball on the ground a lot, but honestly, at this point, with the way this lineup is, I'm okay with that. Absolutely, 100%. At least it will send people in motion. We'll get things moving around the base pads. It's a little creativity. But what else is going on with Justin Crawford? Why is he not playing center field for the Phillies? Again, Is what Brandon Marsh and what Johan Rojas provide you anything better than what you think Justin Crawford can? I don't understand the prospect building and development side of the Phillies. I never have. They are one of the hardest teams to wrap your heads around when it comes to that. But I'm not on board with bringing the center fielder here. I think we got one. We drafted the kid like 13th overall 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Let's give him a shot before we go out spending some money on a center fielder. We drafted one, not in the 9th round, in the 7th round, the 15th round, the 20th. No, in the first round, like 13th overall. Let's see what he can do first. And what he could provide you right now, is it that much worse than what you're getting from Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas? There's a billion questions that I'm going to have about this thing when it's all said and done with this year. It was a billion questions that I'm going to want answered, which I'm not going to get, but we'll talk about these on shows in the future. But one of those questions is, what is going on with Justin Crawford? And why was there such a strong non-interest in bringing him up to try to do something different with center field? And if they do go ahead and trade for a center fielder, if they do break the bank on a center fielder, who's driving the train? Now, do they know something that we don't? Is there some metrics out there that's saying Justin Crawford is not going to be, what he's hyped up to be? And are the Phillies waiting out their time to potentially move him to bring in a bona fide center fielder? Yeah, I guess there's something there to be said about that potentially, but I just don't understand it, man. We have a huge need at center field, and it ain't getting any better with what we got out there. And I floated around the hypothetical theory that Dave Dombrowski, by benching Marsh or by getting rid of Marsh or not DNR, but DFA in him, which I think he has options, but sending him down or whatever would be almost to Dave Dombrowski like an admission that he made a bad trade, a terrible trade with Logan O'Hoppe. Is it pride that is standing in Justin Crawford's way? Is it Dave Dombrowski's pride that's standing in front of Justin Crawford? And I hope that's not what it is. I hope it's something else that they're not telling us. And I hope whatever it is, they can work it out. But I'm starting, as every day as we deal with the Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas stuff, it's becoming more and more, I don't know, weird, I guess. I told you the Yankees are a free fall. They can't pitch or field. This better be a sweep. They can hit, and that's going to be a concern as it was on display tonight. But if the Phillies can keep people off the bases when they're hitting, and the Phillies can continue to do what they did tonight, yeah, there's nobody that can beat the Phillies when things are working this way. Pat is going live next, and I'm already into his time, so let me get through the rest of this. When Schwarber hit his second home run, the camera panned Dombrowski up in the box. All I know is Schwarber's contract keeps getting larger by the minute. Justin Crawford is batting .331, wandering at 414 OBP. I saw the interview with Dombrowski, and he said it has to be the right time, and he would need to play every day. Okay. Well, okay, I agree. Is there any other time better than now? And who's playing ahead of him? I mean, okay, so Dombrowski says essentially Crawford's being blocked. Brandon Marsh is blocking Justin Crawford on any plane of existence. Does that make any sense? Johan Rojas is blocking the 13th overall pick of the 2022 MLB draft. I mean, again, does that make any sense to anybody? There's got to be something more there. There's got to be something more. It just doesn't make any sense. All right, let's get back to the show because you guys are getting me off track. And as I said, I'm already in the Pat's time. So let's go around the bases. All right, around the bases on this Friday night of games that have gone final. It was 5-1 Marlins over the Brewers. Final in 11 innings was 1-0 Diamondbacks over the Pirates. Rockies beat the Orioles 6-5. It was 5-2 Dodgers over the Red Sox, 7-2 Reds over Rays. Blue Jays continue rolling as they beat the Tigers 6-2. 3-0 Cardinals over the Padres. 12-5 Cubs, or I'm sorry, the White Sox beat the Cubs. 1-0 Twins over the Nationals, and the Guardians and Royals were rained out. Games that are currently ongoing. It is 4-1 Rangers over the Braves in the bottom of the eighth. 11-2 A's over the Astros in the top of the eighth. 2-1 Angels over the Mariners. They're going into the fourth. And out in San Francisco, currently at the bottom of the first, it is 2-1 Mets over the Giants. So Phillies are, I guess, officially tied for first place right now in the NL East with the Mets, pending on what the outcome of that game is. And a quick look at your standings. In the American League, Toronto has got themselves a almost seemingly unsurmountable 4.5 game lead over the Yankees. In the AL East, the Tigers slipping back down to earth a little bit. They still hold an 8-game lead. It was 12 at one point over the Guardians. Houston, 5 games up on Seattle out in the West. Wild card standings in the American League. Currently, the Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox all are your current wild cards, with the Rangers just a game out. The Tampa Bay Rays, surprisingly, are only a game and a half out of the wild card race in the American League. The Guardians are 2.5. And with the Guardians' surge and the Tigers' fall, the Emmanuel Clase Stephen Kwan trade seems more and more unlikely. As why would you get rid of 2 fixture pieces of your team if you're in the middle of a playoff run? Kansas City's 4 games out of the wild card. Minnesota's 4, and the Angels are 5. The bottom feeders in the American League, the Orioles, Athletics, and the White Sox are pretty much, I guess, technically Baltimore still has some life left in them. They have only 9 games back, but pretty much they're done. Over in the National League, it is the Mets and Phillies currently tied for first place in the NL East. Milwaukee has got the lead over the Cubs by a game in the Central, and it's the Dodgers up by 6 over the Padres out west. Wild card race in the National League is as clear as mud. Depending on how you're looking at this thing right now, I guess percentage points, the Phillies would be technically the second wild card right now. The Cubs, Phillies, and Padres with the wild card berths secured. Giants just a half a game back. The Reds a game. Cardinals a game and a half. Arizona 4, but apparently they're selling as they said it by basically by trading Naylor away. You're 4 games out of a wild card, but you're going to start selling off your pieces. Interesting move. Marlins are now only 5 games out of the wild card, as I think it was Star Wars alluded to them only being in third place right now. And then the Braves, who are on life support, 9.5 games out of the wild card. Pirates, Nationals, and Rockies are all pretty much wrapped up for the rest of the season. And there's your look at the standings on this Friday night, late July-wise. So Phillies 12-5 winners over the Yankees tonight. And they will take on the Yankees tomorrow. I would keep Marsh in center and put Crawford in left. I would get rid of Marsh. Marsh is garbage. So tomorrow night, the Phillies will be back at this thing. Pat Bernard will have you, and then I'll be back on Sunday. Until then, folks, I am going to cut this short because, as I said, Pat is on live. So make sure you're staying here on the It's Rap Sports Network. If you haven't already flipped over to Pat, you might want to do that right now, because I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted. But I can't go to bed until I hear from one more person. You guys have a good night. I'll see you on Sunday. Hopefully I'm talking Phillies sweep.
He had high hopes. He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky.